Flattening Paste. In this video, we're going to show off one of our newest products called Flattening Paste. But first, let's get a patina on this piece of aluminum. We're going to use the A14, and while it is coming on rather random, I'm going to use my Scotch-Brite techniques that you may have seen in other videos to get it a little bit more even than the spitter spatter we see here. See, I want some movement and random to it where we have patches of black and patches of the aluminum coming through, but I don't really want some of that dotting that came out. So if you get some of the dotting showing through like we did there, the Scotch-Brite technique will help. And I've talked about that in a lot of other videos. So if you need more guidance on that, take a look at our A14 video. But here I'm just going to lightly scrub it, and then when we rinse it off, I'm not going to reapply like I normally would. And I'm also kind of going a little heavier than I normally would, like I said, because I want to have some of those aluminum parts coming through. And the reason why I want to do that is because I'm going to use the slate black patina, which we have also shown in another video. This is the first one that we will show them together. And the slate black is a lot of fun. You got to heat the aluminum up to work on it, and then we can get a really cool finish. Unfortunately, my camera battery was dying when I was doing the slate black, and I just didn't notice. Get caught up in it. So you're going to see kind of the start of it, but it is like I said, we have another video so you can take a look at that specifically. So I get left with this, and you can see there's a nice white film on it, and that's not abnormal for the slate black to do. Usually it has to do with when you have the slate black on there and then you heat it again and it dries it out, like you didn't have it up to temperature. But I just wipe it with some water, a little bit of distilled water, and it comes right off. Now, the reason why I like using the slate black on the aluminum over the A14 is we get this nice mottled with hints of brown and everything, but we're going to use the patina stains to kind of pop it up a little bit, and the text will come up and show you which colors we're specifically using. But I wanted to talk about the flattening paste. Now, the flattening paste is a really cool product. Essentially, the basis of it is, say you had ClearGuard satin, but for this specific job, you needed it to be matte. You wouldn't have to reorder, although we'd like you to reorder. But if you had the flattening paste, you could put the flattening paste into the ClearGuard satin and make it into a matte sheen. A lot of people also like to blend their Everclears. So if they take like 1 part matte and 1 part satin Everclear, they can get a really nice kind of middle ground. Well, now you can do that by just buying the satin Everclear and adding the flattening paste. So the flattening paste really just gives you a lot of options. It's not designed to work in the water-based ones, such as Smart Coat, but it works extremely well in ClearGuard and Everclear. So just for a point of reference, a pint or a 16-ounce can of the flattening paste will flatten 1 gallon of ClearGuard satin to match the ClearGuard matte. So it's not exactly the same for the Everclear. We definitely recommend playing around so you can find that specific sheen that you're looking for. But that's all this tool does, is it offers you the ability to get the sheen that you actually want and to achieve more easily, rather than splitting 2 different sheens of one clear coat, or if it just gives you some flexibility to it. So I have Everclear Part A and B mixed already, and I'm going to add the flattening paste. And if you need a reference on how the Part A and Part B and everything like that works, we've got other videos to show that as well. So we've already mixed A and B, and now we're going to add the flattening paste. I do recommend using a paddle mixer. I can't recommend that enough with the Everclear, and especially with the flattening paste. This flattening paste, you'll see, is pretty thick, and it really needs to get a pretty good rotation on there in order to get mixed in completely. So you can see it's kind of chunky on my stir stick here, and definitely go slow and work your way up. The last thing you want to do is put too much in, because it can become visible, and that's the last thing we want. We still want it to be pretty clear. So I am actually going to put a lid on this container and put a little hole in it so I can drill at a higher RPM. So you can see I've just cut a little hole in there, and we can get this drill going pretty good. And I do this for a few minutes, and then we're ready to go. Now, we don't need to go as fast as the drill can go, but you can see I kick it into second gear here, and we're really going now. This is probably a little faster than we need to, but I didn't feel like the first part on the drill was actually going to cut it. So that's why I stepped it up just a little bit more. Remember after mixing that you'll want to let it sit for just a minute so the bubbles can dissipate that you've formed. I also highly recommend straining it to make sure that all of the matting agent that is in the flattening paste really gets mixed up, because if we have any clumps, it'll come out in the strainer rather than clogging your gun. After straining it, it's business as usual, and here we're going to go ahead and use our flattened Everclear satin over this piece. As we've discussed in other videos for the Everclear, I always recommend doing at least 2 coats and then doing omnidirectional. So doing one way, left to right say, and then on the second pass we go top to bottom. Always changing directions, and then we can get a really nice crosslink. Flattening Paste is now available at www.sculptnouveau.com.